Hello everyone! Today I wanted to do a bit of an analysis, I guess you could say, of the book Love in the Time of Cholera, and a similar experience, in a way, that I had when I was 17. So this might have spoilers. If you wanted to read Love in the Time of Cholera, then you probably shouldn't watch this yet. So that's entirely up to you, but like I said, there will be spoilers and we're going to discuss that. So first, let me talk about Love in the Time of Cholera and what it is about. So basically, I'm just going to give you the gist of it. This guy, his name is Florentino, he falls in love with this girl and her name is Fermina. And so they're very young when they fall in love. And he ends up not winning her over. They talk for a long time and then she decides she doesn't want to be with him. And so she moves on and she gets married. And basically the story starts when her husband dies. And then it flips around to talk about their youth and Florentino and Fermina and how their relationship went over the years. And then it talks about how he comes back and he says, like something along the lines of, I've been faithful to you and I love you, or something like that. I can't remember exactly. It's been like a little bit since I've read the book. But it's, the gist of it is kind of a nice little love story. Like, you know, it's kind of an odd one, but you know, she goes and does her thing in her life and whatever, blah 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 blah, and they end up being together in the end. And if it stopped there, that would be a great story. But it doesn't. It actually goes way more in depth with a lot of things like romanticizing sexual assault, romanticizing rape, and romanticizing statutory rape. So we're going to talk about that. Throughout the book, there are some really weird things that are included. And one of which that I remember very well is this story about this ex-slave woman who was raped when she was 15. She's always talking about how if anybody knows who that guy was, or they come across that guy who raped her, please send him her way, because he was so good at what he did that she fell in love with him for what he did. And that's obviously messed up. So that one's not cool. Then a little further, we get this plot line of his, like, I can't remember if they're cousins, somehow they're related, they are relatives. And he is her guardian. She is from another town and she's coming to this school so that she can study. And so he ends up in a sexual relationship with her. And he even, in the book, it even says stuff about, like, it's very gross. It says stuff about, like, you could smell the cradle on her. She was so young. And that's really gross and messed up. So, yeah, Love in the Time of Cholera is a good book, but it's only a good book because of what I'm about to talk about. So, my story is when I was 17, I was really close with this one person, and I used to go over to their house all the time. And their father liked me a lot. And there were various things that happened, you know. One time it was my little sister and I, and we were going to go over there to stay the night. And we didn't have swimsuits. They had a pool. We didn't have swimsuits. So he said, oh, go ahead and just go swimming, you know, in your bra and underwear, and it'll be fine. And we were like, no, thanks. And then there was another time where I was at my family member's baseball game, and he picked me up over his shoulder and started carrying me away. And my mom was not happy about that and started screaming at him to put me down and leave me alone. Then he always had this like fixation, because back then, like I've said before, I was anorexic. So I was very petite in my chest and my bottom. I didn't have a lot going on there. And he would always make it a point to run his hands around those areas and make jokes about them. And one time he actually ended up touching my bottom. And I thought, you know, for some reason, being a 17-year-old girl who was not aware that something like this could happen to me, I didn't notice all of the red flags, and it sounds stupid now talking about them. And then realizing how, like, I should have immediately noticed, but you know, I was so young, I didn't really have friends, so I wasn't aware that, like, friends' dads don't act like that. Anyway, during this whole entire period of time, he was sending me Instagram messages with flowers and like really sweet things, telling me that I was pretty, whatever. And I finally realized how messed up it was at that point, but I wasn't exactly sure what to do about it, so I still would hang out at my friend's house. And one day, he was in pain. The father was in pain, and so he came into the house and he laid his head in my lap. And I immediately got up and was like, I've got to go. You know, I forgot my mom had something that I needed to do, something like that. I can't remember exactly what the excuse was, but I got out of the house as fast as I could. I told my mom. We had the option to take it to the police. For my friend, to respect that person, my friend, I didn't end up taking it to the police, even though I had mounting evidence, and I should have. And you know what? That goes back to the, you know, being a dumb kid thing. I should have known better, but I didn't. Anyway, so that was my story. So when this individual was young, I can't remember how old he was young. He had a girlfriend. This girlfriend died in a car accident. She was 17. So he had a fixation on youth. He had a fixation on young people. And similarly to him, if you look at Love in the Time of Cholera, Florentino also had a fixation on younger people because he couldn't get over the person that he lost when he was young. It took me a while to sit back because I honestly, there were so many times throughout the story, Love in the Time of Cholera, that I wanted to put the book down and never pick it back up. I thought it was disgusting. I hated it. I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't want to read anymore. But everybody was saying online, oh, this book is a masterpiece. This book is a masterpiece. You'll love it. It's great. It's a masterpiece. And I'm like, how is this a masterpiece? And like I said, it's been a while since I've read the book. It's been a few months now. And I've already moved on, obviously, to a bunch of different books. So it's kind of just been swept under the rug in my mind. But the other day I was thinking about it. And I now understand why people call it a masterpiece. And this does not excuse the behavior in the book, because it's messed up. It is absolutely messed up and disgusting. But it makes sense why people are so intrigued by this story. It shows in depth the screwed up psychological processes of some men who end up being into younger people. And so when I finally looked at my real life situation that I had been in, and I said to myself, oh, this is familiar, I realized that Love in the Time of Cholera is as amazing as it is because it is describing distinctly something that is very human, very wrong, but very human. Something that people are not going to openly admit. And I think that that's a big problem that we have in general with, not necessarily, it's a big problem that we have with some men pursuing some women. So it's, in the book, it talks about how Florentino was very persistent. How he kept doing things and doing things and doing things to get Fermina's attention. She kept turning him down. He kept doing things. He was persistent. And we, as a society, view women in a way like trophies. So basically, what I mean by that is we look at women as an object that we can win if we put in enough effort. In that somehow, magically, our effort is going to pay off and we're going to get the female that we want. And that is further executed through the story, Love in the Time of Cholera. You can see it happen. You can see the slight little things that he does that are creepy. They're very creepy. But you can see all of this in the plot and just how psychologically a lot of men work. And that's not anything against men. You know, there are always bad apples in the mix of whoever, whatever. But I think it's something that we need to take into consideration more. Fermina did not want to be with Florentino. She decided on her own terms that she didn't want to be with him. She decided on her own terms that she wanted to marry this doctor that she ended up marrying. And she is, in this book, described as a haughty, really just boss, bad word, basically. She is very independent, very self-sufficient, strong, brave. She's a great person. And then it just, like, at the end, she just kind of, like, I guess, gives up and, like, is with Florentino then. And that's so messed up because you know, people look at that and they're like, they either take it the way that I think the author intended it to be, as like, ooh, yeah, that's a little not cool. Or they take it and they run with it and they think that persistence is key if you want to win the trophy that you want. So, yeah. After this, like, assessment, I've realized why people think of it as a masterpiece. It touches on things that people wouldn't touch on. Most people wouldn't touch on anyway. And it really highlights the good, bad, and ugly of humanity. Be kind to everybody. Don't pressure anybody into doing something they don't want to do. Be mature, be kind, and yeah. Okay, I'm hot, I'm sweaty. I decided that as I was doing the previous bit there, talking about my youth and my sexual I wouldn't necessarily say it was assault, my sexual harassment, I decided that I felt like there was a lot of negativity just in general in my living space and mostly in my room. So I went on a whole cleaning spree in a way to like detoxify my space, because I keep a lot of things that don't have value and that are not important to me, but I have a habit of like hoarding things and stuff. And so it's always good for me to reflect on that and say, okay, I am at the point now where I do not need this anymore, so I can get rid of it, and then I have space if I need something else, or I just have clear, clean space and my mind is less cluttered. So yeah, I guess that this was a detoxifying concept that I'm trying to keep up with, because it felt so good to talk about that trauma and get it out there, and, you know, explain to people that you're not alone in a way. You know, it's happened to so many people and we are not aware. So yeah, it was a nice thing, a nice feeling to get that off of my chest. And so I figured, while I'm detoxifying that portion of my life, I need to detoxify everything here that's with me right now. It just felt right. It felt like I needed to clean up, and we have been go, go, go recently. And we were in vacation. We were on vacation in Ohio, Not really vacation. We go there to spend time with our family, and a lot of the time we have to help out, which is not a problem, but it is technically not a vacation. Anyway, we were in Ohio, and packing and stuff gets messy, and so our room was messy, and then we came back and we just kind of threw stuff around, and I have been so bad about keeping up with laundry and stuff. So I was finally like, okay, I need to I need to get up and I need to do the laundry, and I need to clean the room, just deep clean, make sure that everything is organized again, get rid of things like, as you saw before, I tossed out a bunch of makeup, and don't get too upset about that because a lot of it was old and expired anyway, but I threw out a bunch of makeup and stuff because I haven't been wearing makeup and I don't see in the future me needing it. I don't want to wear makeup anymore, so that's a decision that I've made recently, but I decided that that was taking up too much space, that it was not necessary, and it was not going to benefit my life in any way, so I needed to get rid of it. I think that we forget like how much that bothers us and bothers our minds when everything is messy and we're like anxious about it. And we don't notice that we're anxious about it. We're just like, oh, that's a mess, I need to clean that up. But it just like gets put on the back burner, and then we don't do it, and then we're like angry and anxious and we don't know why. And a lot of the time it's because we haven't cleaned up our space, and we need to make sure that all of that negativity, all of that excess, stuff that we do not need or do not want anymore, we need to make sure that we're constantly getting rid of it, giving it away, helping other people out with it, you know, just a lot of different things. So that's that. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoy it, and yeah, I'm kind of enjoying just doing little things like this where I'm filming parts of my life so that people know that, like, I feel like on the internet we think that everybody's life is perfect, and it's not. And I want to, in my videos, make sure that people know that, like, my life is real, and like there's a lot of stuff that I do during the day that is not so fun, and my house is not always clean, and my room is not always clean, and you know, just things like that that a lot of people don't know. You know, the internet does a great job at making it seem like your life sucks and you have to be like everybody else in order for it to be great. So that's that. Just wanted to do this little bit, and yeah, let me know if you guys like it. Thank you. Bye!